Race 10 on an 11-race card Saturday at Santa Anita. 5 graded stakes on Saturday at Santa Anita, by the way, and a couple of really good ones toward the end of the card. Race 10 is the Grade 1 Awesome Again, a mile and 1/8 on the main track, and this is a win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup Classic. And I guess what we're going to find out is who gets to walk the plank, so to speak, in the Breeders' Cup Classic against the likes of Nick's Go, Essential Quality, Max Player, and even Hot Rod Charlie. Those are the 4 early favorites for the Breeders' Cup Classic. And maybe somebody will step up in the Awesome Again on Saturday and, give those 4 top Breeders' Cup Classic choices a battle in the Breeders' Cup in early November at Del Mar. We're going to find out a little bit more about the West Coast Handicap Division in the Awesome Again. It's race number 10. Let's go ahead and take a look at the field of 8 that will race a mile and 1/8. And there are some good horses in this field. I'm surprised to see Midcourt in the field. I was told by his connections that he had gotten sick a week ago and was not going to run, but there he is in the entries. And Midcourt is an interesting horse because he does have speed and he does have a speed rider aboard, but he also will be racing without Lasix, and he's a horse that in the past has required Lasix. At any rate, that's the backstory on Midcourt. Tis a Magician. I'm not sure if a mile and 1/8 is his right trip. Express Train, we're going to talk about him in a minute. Stiletto Boy, Medina Spirit, he's still the Kentucky Derby winner. Azul Coast, Tripoli has improved since switching to dirt. He won the Pacific Classic. And Idol, we haven't seen since he won the Santa Anita Handicap way back in March. He's using the Awesome Again as a prep. He'll be finishing, and if he runs well, it'll be on to the Breeders' Cup, but he might not be at his best first start since March. Okay, I like a horse in here, but I've liked him all year, and he doesn't always deliver because he's a horse that can only run well when he gets his trip. Express Train is not a horse that will overcome trouble, but when he gets his front-running, pace-pressing type of trip, in the clear, forwardly placed, he can run with any handicap horse in California. Express Train was actually the favorite in the Pacific Classic, and he never had a chance. And the reason I say that, well, you be the judge. Let's take a look at the first 3 furlongs of the Pacific Classic at Del Mar. Express Train breaking from post position number 5 in the yellow and purple silks of CRK. Okay, he breaks fine. He's forwardly placed. He's okay right here. He could use a little bit more enterprising ride, I believe. I think it would be in jockey Juan Hernandez's best interest to push this horse up toward the lead, because right now he's going to get into a jackpot. And watch what happens to poor Express Train going into the turn. Things get a little bit tight. The horse to his inside drifts out. Express Train takes up right there, and that is the end of that. Express Train is a front runner / pace presser. He's not going to take back and come around. His weapon is his tactical speed. And when he gets that front running, pace pressing type trip, like I said earlier, he's as good as any horse in California. But he didn't get that trip last time out. So I'm going to give Express Train a pass for his misfire in the Pacific Classic, and assume that he gets back on track, that Hernandez gives him a little bit more ambitious ride early and puts him into the race and avoids trouble. Now, it's not going to be easy because likely front runner Medina Spirit is drawn to his outside. So I expect Medina Spirit to make the lead, and I'm hoping that Hernandez can get to the outside of Medina Spirit on Express Train. And if he does, he'll have every chance to win this race. Tripoli, by the way, won the Pacific Classic. We're going to talk about him right now. As a matter of fact, he's a Kitten's Joy, and you wouldn't think that a Kitten's Joy would improve switching to dirt, but that's exactly what he did. I'm talking about the Pacific Classic winner, Tripoli, who came to hand this spring or earlier this year at Santa Anita, and he delivered on his promise last time out with a solid win in the Pacific Classic. Let's roll the tape on the stretch run of the Pacific Classic. This was kind of a weird race. We saw Express Train get wiped out early. Tis a Magician's on the lead and on the inside, and Tripoli pressing the pace to his outside. The race was bizarre because it was dominated by the two front runners and nobody made up any ground except that horse rolling late. That's Dr. Post, who finishes very well. But the Pacific Classic was a front runners dominated type of race. Conditions were made to order for Tripoli, and he was good enough to deliver. And I'm not knocking Tripoli. I'm just pointing out that he had the type of trip that I think most people would have preferred Express Train to get. The race was dominated by speed. Nobody made up any ground. The 1-2 front runners finished 2-1, and Tripoli delivered. Now, Tripoli is trained by John Sadler, and Sadler could easily have skipped the Awesome Again and just trained Tripoli into the Breeders' Cup. Sadler can get a horse ready off a layoff. Why is Tripoli in the Awesome Again? It's because he is doing so well. Sadler figures, why not run him? He's a racehorse. Run him. Tripoli commands respect. He is good right now. He gets over the Santa Anita surface very well, and he will be a contender, no doubt about it. Okay, what do you do with Idol? Idol hasn't started since March. Let's go ahead and look at the Santa Anita Handicap Stretch Run, a race in which Express Train makes the lead. Looks like he might be home free, but Idol, ridden for the first time in this race by Joel Rosario, Idol at 1 1/4 wore him down. Idol was coming in off a couple of tough trip losses under a different jockey, but with Rosario aboard, boy, there's Express Train running his heart out. But Idol at 1 1/4 wears him down in deep stretch. Now, Idol had a setback. He went to the farm. He took some time off. This is his first start since March. Baltus is not sure. Well, he kind of suggested that he does not have Idol all the way cranked for a winning effort first start back. He also said, Baltus did, that sometimes these horses will surprise you. Idol is a good horse. Of course he is. He won the Santa Anita Handicap. But he's coming in off a long layoff, and he'll be ridden by Joe Bravo, who's never been on Idol before. And I would expect Idol to finish well. Hey, maybe he springs an upset and gets there first. But I would expect Idol to run well, finish well, and improve next time out in the Breeders' Cup Classic down at Del Mar. Okay, who's the pace going to be set by in the Awesome Again? Probably by the horse who won the Kentucky Derby in May. Of course, a cloud hangs over Medina Spirit, but he came back to form last time out in the Shared Belief Stakes at Del Mar. It was not a great field. He did defeat Rock Your World. Let's take a look at the stretch run of the Shared Belief. And Medina Spirit made the lead, and he was long gone. He wired the field. This is how Medina Spirit runs. He makes the lead. That's Rock Your World back in second on his wrong lead, kind of grinding away. But Medina Spirit, he is tough when he makes the front, and he is a bulldog in the stretch. Medina Spirit is a front runner, but he's not a front running stopper. He's a front runner who digs in and fights back when he gets hooked. Medina Spirit, one could argue he's the most likely winner of the Awesome Again. But I hope that Express Train, if he can get to the outside of Medina Spirit and apply pressure from the outside in the clear, I think Medina Spirit can wear down, Express Train can wear down likely pace setter Medina Spirit. I don't know what to do with midcourt in this race. I'm not convinced he's a confirmed starter. But if he does, he will have something to say about the pace scenario, and all of a sudden you have 3 front runners, Midcourt, Express Train, and Medina Spirit. So stay tuned and see if Midcourt actually does start. But regardless, I think that Express Train is in the right spot to make amends if he gets a trip. He cannot overcome trouble, Express Train can't. But when he gets his trip, he's as good as anybody in California. We saw him finishing second in the Big Cap against Idol. He's a 2-time graded stakes winner this year, Express Train is. He ran second in the highly rated Malibu back in December. He's a good horse when he fires with his front-running trip. If he gets it this weekend, Saturday at Santa Anita, I expect Express Train to win the Awesome Again. Race 10 on Saturday.